Hi, this lesson will be looking at quadratic equations. So unlike linear equations, equations involve an x squared, which means at the power of 2, which is reliant to the null factor law ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So what you'll need to know, you'll need to remember your factorizations and such other things that you've learnt in the past relating to this. So that's what we'll be using here. Now we want to solve this equation, x squared minus 6x plus 8 equals to 0. So the first thing we're looking for here is what two numbers will times to give you positive 8, but those two numbers will also have to plus to give you that minus 6x. To help us with finding these two numbers, we will use the cross multiplication method. So with this method, we need to find out what two numbers will give you x squared and another pair of numbers which will give us positive 8. In other means, finding the common factor of the two. So what two numbers go into x squared? Well, x and x gives you x squared and 4 times 2 gives us 8. Though it's most likely for a beginner a matter of trial and error, finding whether a positive or negative should be placed before the two numbers. So for this equation, a negative 4 times by x will give us negative 4x, and a negative 2 times by x will give us a negative 2x. And when timesing the two numbers, make sure you're timesing the numbers diagonal to each other, or else the answer to your equation will be incorrect. So at the end of this step, you must plus or take away the two sets of numbers depending on which operator is suiting of your working out. Though for this question, we will do negative 4x take away 2x. In the end, this gives you negative 6x. Now what can you see in this working that looks familiar? Well, negative 6x is the middle term of our question. This is the bx of our equation. This is the key to our answer. This is what we're looking for. Because if these two numbers match up, and just note you can only match up the middle term, the bx, and so if these two groups of numbers match up, then what you're going to do, you're going to put the x minus 4 in brackets, and the x minus 2 in another set of brackets beside each other, and which equals to 0. Now we're going to break this down or simplify this even further. We do x minus 4 equals to 0 and x minus 2 equals to 0. Now we're going to start with x minus 4 equals to 0. Now what we want to do, we want to start off by finding out what x equals to and isolate it from everything else. So we'll plus the negative 4 by positive 4 and plus the 4 by the 0 as a process of elimination to separate the x from any numbers. So this part's going to give you x equals to positive 4, and for the other section we'll do the same process. We'll plus the negative 2 by the positive 2 and plus the 0 by the positive 2 as well. Because as you know, what is done to one side must be done to the other. So the answer for this equation gives us x equals to 4 and x equals to 2. Now for the next question. Okay, we want to solve this equation. Now you might think that okay, it's already factorized so I don't have to do any further factorization. But see how it's not equal to 0, it's equal to 11. We can't leave it like this, we have to simplify and expand it out again. So what you want to do, you want to use the FOIL method and expand it out like this. And make it equal to 11. Next you want to take the 11 and merge it in by doing 6 take away 11 equals to minus 5. And let it equal to 0. Now that's the most important part. So now we have to solve or simplify this again with cross multiplication method. So to start off, what two numbers times together to give you 6x squared? Well, 3 times 2 is 6 and x times x is x squared. So it's 3x times 2x. And what two numbers times together to give you 5? Well, that's simple. 5 and 1. Though to give you positive 13x, there must be a positive before the 5 and a negative before the 1, which would give you positive 5 times 3x and negative 1 times 2x. In the end, this gives you 15x take away 2x. And what does this give us? Positive 13x. Now that this answer matches up with the bx, the middle term, this is a sign of approval to go ahead. So we will factorize this, which gives us 3x take away 1 in brackets and 2x plus 5 in another set of brackets, which equals to 0. And remember guys, this is very important. So by now, you should know what the next step may be. We will do 3x take away 1, which equals to 0, and as a separate part, we will put down 2x plus 5 equals to 0. And to simplify this even further, positive 1 plus negative 1 and positive 1 plus 0. Now we're left with 3x equals to 1. So now is the x on its own? No, we still have room for simplification. Now what's the opposite of times? Divided by. So we'll do 3x divided by 3 and positive 1 divided by 3. And at the end of this, we are left with x equals 1 over 3. Okay, to move on to the next part. 2x plus 5 equals to 0. We're going to do 5 take away 5 and 5 take away 0. We're left with 2x equals to negative 5. We're close, but we still have a bit left. What's left over? The 2. So we'll divide 2 by 2 and negative 5 divided by 2. So the answer to this question is negative 5 over 2. So in conclusion to this, x equals 1 over 3, or x equals to negative 5 over 2. Thank you for watching. I hope you understood this lesson, and good luck with your questions.